girlfriend likes talking about how much of a hoe she was. IDKY, but my girlfriend has been bringing this up. Like, yeah, back then when I was a hoe, and talks about all the different guys she made out with and slept with who weren't her boyfriend. Not sure if I'm being too soft here, getting uncomfortable when she talks about this. She's only my second girlfriend, and the only person I only made out with and slept with was my first girlfriend, so I don't have the same experiences as her. How can I bring this up if it makes me feel uncomfortable? Edit. Thank you all for the responses. I didn't mean for the comments to get in heated arguments about this topic. I will have a talk with my GF about this situation and ask politely to stop bringing it up. One more thing. I didn't make this post to downgrade women for their past. They have the absolute right to do whatever they please. Their body, their choice. However, I do just feel uncomfortable when my girlfriend brings it up, but that's all. Let's be honest. I'm sure most of us, whether we're a man or a woman, feel uncomfortable if our partner brings up their past sexual encounters. Just talk to her and ask her to stop. Nothing more to it. I worked with a girl like this. She was really insecure, and we all got the feeling she thought guys would think she was cool, interesting if she bragged about her sexual conquests. A hoe, eh? She's probably just really into farming. Like some others said, tell her this isn't a topic you enjoy talking about. Why? Quote, "It makes me uncomfortable and I prefer not to think of the person I care for in other intimate situations." Done. At that point, if it turns into an argument, they're just being shitty. It's okay to have conversations that you'd rather not have in relationships. I also find it stupid that people want to talk about their past experiences with new partners. So unnecessary. Girl I am seeing recently asked me to cool it on the stories about the exes and flings. To me the stories are funny, and I was always the butt of the joke rather than trying to talk myself up as a ladies' man. She said it made her uncomfortable sometimes, and I simply said, sorry. I just find it funny recounting all the times I embarrassed myself or a partner did something else embarrassing. I'll be more mindful of how it makes you feel in the future. And it hasn't been a problem since. Communication is key, ma man. Start talking about how much of a hoe you were. I dated a girl like this briefly, and she ended up being pretty toxic for me. Not saying that's your case, but it was one of many red flags in mine. It's good to bring up that it bothers you. My ex would talk about his previous GFS, and he was my first BF, so it made me a lil insecure. It wasn't just talking about sex, but whenever he would bring them up. I know he has a past, and that's cool, but I don't need to be reminded. He was insecure about our relationship, and that's why he's my ex. I hope you can set up boundaries that are healthy for your relationship. Ask her to stop. That you don't want to hear about how many people she has been with. I certainly don't want to know how many people my husband has been with. That is gross. Pretty classic example of someone with low self-esteem that wasn't taught she is admired for things other than how much people are attracted to her. She likely thinks this makes her sound more valuable and like a better person. Without these encounters, she may have nothing else to be proud of. I'm totally making assumptions based on people I've known. If it makes you uncomfortable, you can ask her to stop without providing an explanation. Also, how old is she? This is some immature shit for her to be bragging about. Finally, just between us, avoid chicks who brag about or try to hide their hoe phase. She and you should honestly answer any questions a partner has about your past. Hiding it is just as dishonest as actively lying about it. I had an ex that did the same shit. I just laughed it off with her and figured, well, things may have been that way. But now she's with me and things are great. Surely the fact we love each other means this won't be an issue later on. Spoiler alert. It was. She ended up cheating on me at work with a coworker. The guilt was too much, so she confessed to me. When I asked her, why? She gave me this response: things were just going too well and life was progressing at such an even and steady pace that it spooked me and I got irrational and acted out in the way that's most familiar to me. We had a great day-to-day life. We had a great dating life. We had a great sex life. I paid for the rent and most of the utilities while she worked a part-time job and went to school. Her parents loved me and mine loved her. Things seemed to be going great and she would talk all the time about how she couldn't wait to become Mrs. Arnter 1184. Either way, her loss. I've continued to thrive and have my own house now while hers kind of fell apart, unfortunately. TLDR. Hoes gonna hoe sooner rather than later, and this is just a fact of life. Disclaimer. Not all girls are hoes or gonna hoe, and for damn sure a promiscuous past is not an indicator of an inability to settle down and be faithful. But if a partner likes to brag about how much they used to get around, then they are secretly missing it, and this goes for guys and gals. Very briefly dated a girl who was in EMT training. She would talk about how all the EMTs and firefighters would just hook up constantly. Something about the dangerous line of work and dealing with death on a daily basis gets people going, I guess. She told me about some married EMT captain she hooked up with at some station that was so big he tore her and she needed stitches. And how much she liked it. Then I realized she wasn't speaking in the past tense and things were awkward. Thankfully got out of that without anything itchy or burning. Just be straight up with her. Hey, insert name here. I know you were a hoe and you enjoy mentioning it. But unfortunately it makes me uncomfortable hearing about all the sexual things you did with other people. It doesn't make me love you less, but I would greatly appreciate it if you refrained from reminding me of your past all the time. How let's make a heap of new memories together instead. A guy I went out with was into casual sex. And he bragged about his many sexual partners. I was a virgin and I didn't like it. I told him. He didn't stop, but had the audacity to tell me he was doing it to warm me up. I found it disrespectful both for me and the other girls. My main problem was that I wanted, and still want, sex in a committed relationship. I like cuddling. I like deep knowledge and intimacy. And I felt like I only was a number on his body count list. I made it clear since the beginning. We broke up. Best choice ever. Op. Talk to her and explain your doubts. And if she doesn't stop, dump her. You don't need this in your life. Tell her you can't wait to start your hoe phase after hearing about how awesome it was for her. Unless they were specifically asked. Anyone, man or woman, who starts bringing up this unsolicited stuff is trash AF. I used to be this girl, but I checked myself, and so should she. Because it is trashy AF to talk like this and utterly respectless. I think you should tell her to stop, and if she doesn't, then ask yourself, do you really want to be with her? What is the context that these comments come up? How does the topic arise? Have you asked her not to talk about that in front of you and explained why it makes you uncomfortable, feel disrespected? Are you upset more because she has more experience than you? Because you feel like you may be inadequate? Or because you simply think it's disrespectful to discuss past encounters with current partners? Figuring out what upsets you about it first is a good idea. Then have a talk with her about it. Honesty and open communication is what makes relationships work. Best is to talk to her to stop. Personally, I'm not bothered by my spouse's sexual history. After all, we don't phase into existence shortly before meeting our partners, and most people have a history. But he was of mine. I simply stopped talking about it. Simple as that. It's all about boundaries.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.